Kaniswa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Hey, what's up, angels? It's Kaniswa, and welcome back to another Turban Tuesdays. So, guys, let's get to it. So, in society today, we place a lot of expectations on men, guys, and boys to be strong, to be stoic, to be independent, to be providers. And we also do have the tendency to shame them for discussing their feelings and being in touch with their sensitive side. We often tend to forget that it's not about being masculine, it's about being human. Okay, so guys, I know you're thinking like, Kaniswa, what are you talking about? Well, ladies and gents, what brought me to do this topic today was the whole thing of Sean Puffy Combs and Cassie. Okay, we all saw the video that came out. Okay, I just want to put it out here. I am not here for domestic violence. I don't care if it's men on women, women on men. I'm not here for domestic violence at all. Especially to the extreme of what was going on with Puffy, Cassie, and many, many other women. Okay. Yeah. I last week I was supposed to give you guys the Turban Tuesdays, and this was initially supposed to have been the topic, but I didn't know whether I wanted to touch on this, how I wanted to talk about it. Yeah, so that's why you guys didn't get a Turban Tuesdays last week. But I had to pray about some things, and this is how God wanted me to come at this and tackle this. So nevertheless, so guys, I was watching another interview. It was about Sean Puffy Combs, his life and growing up as a child. And what really struck me in the interview was him talking about his mother or his grandmother sent him to the store to get some cigarettes. And he was very, very young. At the time, I think he might have been about 7 or 8 years old. He was very, very young, underage minor child. And his grandmother sent him to the store to get the cigarettes. Long story short, somehow somebody that gets bigger and older than him took the cigarette money. He went home, told his mom and his grandmom. His grandmama told him, "Don't worry about it, baby. You come on in the house. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine." But his mother put her foot down and told him, "You cannot come and live in this house. You go back out. You get that money. You bring it back." Now, for me, that kind of struck a nerve. I understand with our young boys, we want them to be masculine and be men, and we want to teach them, how to wheel and deal in the world. But for me, just hearing that was out of line. It was out of line because, number one, as a young child, I would have never sent a child that young to the store by themselves, let alone talking about going buy some cigarettes. Then number two, when you told him to go back out to confront the other individual who took the money, he would never went by himself. Once again, an adult would have had to have been with him. Number three, telling him he can't come in the house until he went out and got the money. Just for me, those are just like red flags, and it's just big no-nos. We not doing that. No. That just wasn't cool for me. I didn't sit well in my spirit. But nevertheless, looking at the video with Cassie and then listening to the other interview with how Puffy was raised and things like that, it really showed why he has some of the things that are going on with him. But I want to take it and I want to relate it back to our young boys that are coming up now. How can we prevent from things like the situation with Cassie? How can we prevent those things from happening with our young boys that are coming up? The young boys that are seeing that interaction between Puffy and Cassie. Like, how can we prevent that? But one thing that I feel we can start today and start teaching our young men as they get older and as they come into the world, and we start teaching them common decency, courtesy, and respect is due to everyone, no matter who it is. Our young men will view these virtues as common human courtesies, not just specific to any gender. So not just respecting women, not just only giving that to women, but everybody, even their fellow brothers, their fellow co-workers, it's due to everybody. We have to show our young boys that mutual respect through love, honesty, and expecting it in return. You know, you can give respect to someone else and expect the respect in return. The next thing, which is so very important when you're raising boys, having positive male role models in their lives. Typically, we all would love their positive role models to be their fathers. And why is it important to have positive role models, be it a father, grandfather, uncle, in their lives? Because children are amazing at mimicking what they see. Okay, what's the old saying? Monkey see, monkey do. Okay, so we have to be careful with what we show them. That's one of the big things with having positive male role models around for our boys. You know, monkey see, monkey do. You know, they gotta have someone around that sets the standard and sets an amazing example. Having positive role models helps them to develop a sense of identity. It teaches them the proper ways to show and have masculinity, and also positive behaviors. So yes, definitely having a positive role model is a must, especially when raising boys, because something that I think a lot of women, we tend to forget. A woman can try to raise a boy. And a lot of us do. A lot of single mothers out here, they try to raise boys. They try to do the best they can. But truthfully and honestly, a woman can't really teach a boy how to be a man. That has to come from another man, you know. So that's yet again another reason why it is important to have positive male role models around our boys at all times. You know, a woman cannot do it on her own, really and truly. A lot of women in this day and age, they try, but truthfully, they can't do it on their own. Okay, so ladies, I know we go for the I'm independent, I don't need a man. Yes, you do, because there's just some things that a woman can't teach a boy, but when they hear it and they get it from a man, it's gonna hit differently. It's gonna hit a lot differently. So the next thing, which is very, very highly important, and moms, dads, grandmoms, granddads, we all have to learn this. And this thing is to create a safe environment for our young men to be able to express themselves. So it's a number of ways we can go about this, and I'm gonna run it down. One way is letting our boys know that the whole tough guy, Mr. Macho Man stereotype, it's okay to let that go and kind of tone that down. You ain't got to be tough guy always. It's okay to kind of, I guess you could say, let your guard down You may not do that with everybody, but when you're with your mother, your father, your grandparents, tone that down. You don't always got to be tough guy. You don't always got to be Mr. Macho Man all the time. Like, it's not always needed. Letting them know it's okay to make mistakes. Everybody makes them. We are all humans. We are all human beings. So we all make mistakes. The thing with making mistakes is you just have to try your hardest not to continue down that same path. But making mistakes, it's a human thing. We all are going to do it. Next thing, trust. Our trust can deepen a sense of safety for our boys. So saying that to say this, moms, dads, grandparents, building trust with our boys, letting them know, hey, you can trust us. And when you're around us, you can talk to us and you have our word with things that we say. Definitely building trust, which is needed really in any relationship, not just parents and children, but spouses, friendships. Trust is a big thing. Assure them that they have someone that they can talk to and come to, even when things go left. Once again, this is creating trust in that safe space, that no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, if shit hit the fan and go left, you have somewhere to go. You have someone to talk to. You got someone that's there for you. Trust, good communication is top notch to create a safe space. Leading by example, which goes back to having a good male role model. Parents, this is something that I do notice with a lot of parents in this day and age. A lot of parents in this day and age, they want the respect, but they don't want to lead by example. You got to lead by example. Our boys have to see, both mom and dad, grandmom and granddad, leading by example at all times. And this is something that I also say, when you have children and kids, you got to be ready to lead by example. You got to be ready to straighten up and fly right, because as I said it before, children mimic everything that they see. So if you got traits and behaviors and stuff that you don't want to see in your boys, hey, you got to straighten up. You got to fly right. You can't be with the foolishness. So definitely leading by example. And then when you lead by example, your children, not just your boys, but your kids in general, they will have so much more respect for you. But especially, in fact, we're talking about our boys. We got to set a good example. Not only the men and the guys, but women, we also have a responsibility too as well. Being receptive and not dismissive of their feelings. And sometimes I think, like with our boys, that could be one of the things why they don't like to open up, because they sometimes may feel mom, dad, grandmom, granddad, and even other people around, they're going to dismiss their feelings. They're going to dismiss how they feel, and it's not going to be taken seriously, or people just not going to care. We have to show them so much with everything that we have. We care what you think. We care how you feel. I do notice sometimes when you're raised up with old school parents, they have the tendency to tell you, hey, be quiet, don't say anything, close your mouth. Sometimes by doing stuff like that, you're shutting the child down and you're suppressing their feelings, their emotions. And that can also, I feel like, prevent you from getting to the root of the problem. So that's my little theory on that. So yes, we don't want to suppress our children's feelings, their emotions, or anything like that. We want to let them show us how they feel, but show them the ways to go about it and stuff like that. We definitely got to work on that with our boys and our kids, period. Let's see. Once again, emotionally healthy communication about their feelings, and which will make our sons compassionate and relatable to women. So this is a big one, because we know in any relationship, communication is always key, and I did say that. I feel like, once again, going into therapy, and I feel like going into putting your kids, some people say it's a bad, they don't like it, but I think like putting your children into therapy, even at a young age, I think that that's a good thing. Once again, especially with our boys, because it teaches them how to communicate. So when the time does come that they do get wives, or they do get girlfriends and stuff like that, they're not getting mad, shutting down, and holding things in, and then once it gets so bad, then it explodes, like the situation with Puffy and Cassie, you know. Teaching our boys how to communicate maturely and verbally with their words should be very, very top at the list, you know. So that one, definitely communication. And then the last thing, once again, we like for our boys to be what we like to say masculine, Mr. Macho Man. But when they're young, when they're babies, show them how to be affectionate. Show them how to be affectionate. Being affectionate with your children, period, will open the doors for your sons to be affectionate, loving, and emotionally available to women later in life. This kind of pairs with the last one I just did, them being compassionate and relatable to women. This is another way. So definitely, we need to be more affectionate with our boys, not just our daughters, but even fathers. There is a way that they can be loving, affectionate with their sons. I was listening to Sterling Brim, I think that's his name. He was saying that he never knew that his father his father, I guess, had feelings. And he was talking about like the first time he saw his dad cry. I'm gonna try to insert that in here, and just to hear that, like, you never seen your dad cry, you never seen him be emotional, and as a young man, I feel like that's something that our young men, they need to see. They need to see that. You know, they need to see more than just mom being emotional. They need to see their dads be emotional. They need to see those things, you know. We have, as society, we got a lot of work to do with rewiring and undoing things that has been around for so long. A lot of these ways and stuff that we have, we gotta trash a lot of those old toxic ways. And that's one thing I will say. I am so proud of the millennials and the Gen Zs. We are now having this big conversation. Yes, we talk a lot about mental health, but just about everything. We're more open. We talk a lot more. You know, when things are not right, like, we talk, we speak, we communicate, you know. And that's one thing I will say. My generation, millennials, and even the Gen Zs, I am so happy and proud of in our generation. We communicate so much about situations and problems, and we're not sweeping things under the rug and just trying to push it to the side. No, let's pull that out. Let's deal with it. Let's call it. You know, when we see it, let's deal with this, because You don't want all of these problems to trickle down to generations to come, you know. So guys, this is my Turban Tuesdays this week. It's not very long. Granted, my prayers are definitely going out to Cassie. My prayers are going out, yes, to Cassie, to Kim Porter, and all of the other women involved. But my prayers are also going out to Sean Puffy Combs as well, because they need it. All of them need it. Yeah. So guys, I want to thank you all for watching.
Follow Kaniswa on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.